Hi, guys. Okay, I'm new at this. So, we're going to talk about today how to connect with our higher selves and why you might be feeling disconnected from your higher self. So, I channeled a bunch of shit. Let's talk about it. Here we go. Let me work at presenting this. Okay. So, in my framework, hold on, let me show you my book really quick. Coming. Danica, no one's here. Okay. So I wrote a book, A New Force. It is about plasma, consciousness, and the new human potential. It is basically about how we are multidimensional beings. And the way I kind of use this framework is we have third dimensional bodies, fourth dimensional bodies, and fifth dimensional bodies. So our third dimensional bodies are our mind. It is the physical, it is matter, it is where separation is, and it is this circle right here. It also is our earth reality and our physical individual life right now. It is linear time, which is light or photons, and it is all about thinking. A lot of us are stuck here in survival mode, and a lot of us are having trouble connecting to our higher selves. You can call it God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. Then we have this very interesting fourth dimensional self here, which is what I call our body. You can also call it your subconscious. It is this fourth dimensional, what I call plasma field, your aura, your biofield around you. Now, this is what directly interfaces with reality. And a lot of ours is decoherent, which means we cannot receive our higher self in a coherent way. Your higher self or God wants to give everything to you. It is completely limitless. But if you are not in coherence in mind, body, soul with your fourth dimensional body, you will still receive it, but you're going to receive what it thinks you want, which is what your subconscious is telling it. Because your subconscious is what communicates with it, your feelings. So if you think mantras all day about I'm abundant, I'm safe, but you're not feeling it or believing it, which I sure don't a lot of the time, you're just going to keep spiraling. And this is why I'm making this video, to hopefully help you. Let me make sure I'm recording. Okay, I am, right? I think so. Well, let's just keep going. So your fourth dimensional body, your mind, this is our magic. This is our magic life. This is nonlinear time, which means it is all of your timelines. Your ancestry is here. Your past, present, and future is here. Your thoughts, your emotions. It communicates with you through symbols, through archetypes. All of our memories, our traumas, our beliefs are stored here. And this is made of dark light, or what I call an antiphoton. It is non-photonic light, and it is feelings. It is all about your feelings and emotions. And this is your subconscious. So this is why I say it is your magic, and we'll get into this, why it's so important, is because it is where telepathy works. This is why you can have intuition about maybe what other people are thinking when you feel very connected to someone. When people, if you're connecting with your ancestors who are on timelines, you're connecting through this space. You're also connecting through people who've passed on. Bits of our consciousness are always here, but this is not the end of it. Then we have this fifth dimensional space, which is, God, our higher self. I call it our future ancestors, where all our higher selves are just chilling up there together. I also call it emergent energy. And it is, so 3D is mind, 4D is body, 5D is soul. You can also say Holy Spirit. These are where you connect to other worlds, which is really interesting. And this is our essence. So we have our life, 3D, our magic is 4D, and our essence is 5D. So our little higher selves up here, they are in the immaterial world, which I say is made of a finer ether plasma. I won't get into the plasma stuff today. We'll talk about that another time. But really quick, 99.9% of our reality of matter, visible matter, is made of something called plasma, which is the fourth state of matter. Now, I posit in my book that there is also non-physical plasma. You can call it metaphysical plasma. You can call it ether. Some people call it the quantum field, but I actually think because the quantum field is still observable and has to do with matter and atoms, if that's true. If not, sorry, that's still physical. I call this more quintessence. But maybe this middle has to do with the quantum field. So I'm open to that. I'm still kind of studying this and putting this together. So this fifth dimensional quintessence space, the fifth essence, this living ether of plasma, which is actually neutral. This is where all our consciousnesses are. It is collective consciousness, but our individual higher selves are still all up there chilling, watching over us, laughing at us right now because we're making a drama out of life. And it is unity, and it is beyond time. So this is completely beyond all type of photonic light, or even anti-photonic light, which in fourth dimension, non-linear time goes backwards and forwards, which is why your intuition can sense future potentials, and you can also sense the past, because it is all actually circular and happening now. So you can get into that in your feeling. Feelings have to do with you reading those things. This is totally beyond time. This is, I can't even explain what it is. And this is where you are being. You are, it's not about time anymore. It's just about being and resonance. And this is what I call neon light, or what I call an omniphoton, which is a working concept as well. So really quick, most people think, I need to get better at this. Most people think photons are just, a photon. I think that there is also an antiphoton and an omniphoton, and they kind of couple together. And this light, which actually has three, is how it kind of communicates to these other realms through photonic light and antiphotonic light and omniphotonic light, but it's all just light. Light is the communication. Now, plasma, as the fourth state of matter, releases photons when energy states exchange. So in the third dimension, that could look like the northern lights, the aurora borealis. When there's a solar flare, there's a lot of energy exchanging. Or with neon lights, there's an energy exchange, which is what gives neon lights their fluorescence. In the fourth dimension, that might look like your aura field lighting up different colors. If you look into Carillion photography, they talk a lot about this. It gives us kind of a fluorescence. Maybe it is why people who are really successful and really authentic shine. You can just feel when someone is really lighting up with their energy. You can also probably call it Kundalini energy. I feel like that's our magic too. And then beyond that, I don't even know where I just went on a little channel session there. But anyway, you get the hint. And then the omniphoton is up here. And this is how light communicates. Oh, so when there are very high energy exchanges here, everything happens right away. So when our higher selves are up here and they want to create something, it happens right away. There is no delay. Whereas here, 3D, there's still a delay, because if we just thought things and they all came true, I think we would be in a lot of shit. So that is just something about light that I decided to say out of nowhere. Okay, let's get into why this actually matters for you. So here we are. Here is you in the 3D right now. And most of us are probably wondering, okay, higher self, you're limitless. Why am I not getting this limitlessness? And most of it all, and I'm going to be teaching a class on this in January. I'm teaching a class on more about plasma and consciousness if you're interested, on Monday, December 8th. If you're watching this video after, I'm sorry, but you can now buy it also on my Stan store, and I'll leave the link below. So learning about plasma and consciousness is the first step to learning your own personal magic, which I'll get into another time. But I will be teaching more about what I call the bridge of the fourth dimension in January. So you can look out for that class, which I'll be announcing in a few days. And if I was a good marketer, I wouldn't even post this until then, but I feel like someone needs to see this today. So I'm going to post it today, even though this class is not ready to sign up for yet. It's fine. Everything's fine. This isn't about that. So I'm not editing this. I'm too lazy. When we have our fourth dimensional magic that is decoherent, which is our thoughts, our emotions, our symbols, our beliefs, our memories, we cannot receive clearly from our higher self. We're always receiving, but once again, it is giving us what our subconscious wants. So if you are feeling like you're not deserving of something, even though you really want it, you're probably not going to get it. And I mean, sometimes there are miracles and you do. There aren't really fixed laws to any of these things. So don't let anyone tell you that. I feel like you kind of create your own laws, and then we kind of come up with them together, and then they turn into physical laws and matter, which if enough of us were to change our consciousness, we could actually change the physical laws of matter, which is why I think space-time is actually emergent from a deeper plasma consciousness synergy field, which is like infinity. So here's your baby higher self and your baby earth self. And when they cross over, there is this third space of what I call plasma intelligence. Mary Magdalene called it gnosis. It is a third space and it is a bridge of communication. And this all happens in the fourth dimensional space, which I also call the body or our magic. Now, this is a very divine feminine space. It is a receptive space. This is one of the reasons that the divine feminine has been suppressed forever, because no one wants us to know about our magic, because then no one outside of us could sell us anything. Then we would actually be able to pick what we want from our own power. Imagine that. So in this third dimensional space, in this fourth dimensional space, which I want to teach everyone more about, here are some things that are actually actionable that I'm now going to finally get to. I don't like long videos, so we're going to get through this. So our fifth dimensional self, so all of this is our multidimensional self, but our higher fifth dimensional self gives us what the subconscious, the 4D, wants. Most of our subconscious is decoherent and in fear and illusion. That is why they call this realm the void or Maya or illusion. But the thing is, it's not just illusion. Plasma is reflective, and this four-dimensional plasma reflects our subconscious first, our state of consciousness right now. But once we can penetrate this, it actually starts showing us what the intelligence packets, the intelligence and consciousness within that four-dimensional layer, if that makes sense. So consciousness is just a receiver. So our three-dimensional consciousness is just a system that's actually receiving our higher awareness or our 5D consciousness. That's why I don't like when people try to define consciousness, because it's multidimensional. It's not really definable. I rather just say that consciousness is a system. So when you are decoherent, your self is more of a closed system. You're circling around with these thoughts. Your higher self is trying to get through to you, but it's just it can't reach within you because you're not listening. I don't listen a lot of the time either. So it tries to show you signs on the outside of you. And through the fourth dimension, it also comes through, and it also tries to show you signs through your feelings and your emotions and your thoughts and your beliefs. All of these things that seem negative that happen to you in your life are actually calls back to love. They are calls back to this higher self, but they're all mostly going to be outside of you and in your emotions and thoughts, unless you become more coherent. So to become coherent, this is, I think, why this symbol in mythology is very interesting. They show it in all the like Egyptian things and goddess symbols. We become open receivers. We become an open system. Look up systems theory and I'll teach more about this. So then our higher self is able to vortex with this fourth dimensional magic, and we can receive. And not only receive, we can use, instead of worrying and taking everything in, we go inside out. And I really hope I'm still recording. We go inside out and we use this magical essence as our personal, what I call plasma consciousness synergy, or our emergent energy, or our magic powers. And we can use this to actually co-create reality with our higher self through our subconscious, which we now have some control over, which we now have healed, which I'm about to talk about, our beliefs, our emotions, our thoughts. We know that our memories, we know that these symbols that we're seeing now are all for our greatest good. Even if they're scary or good, we can kind of be non-dual about it and look at, it doesn't matter really what's visiting us, whether it's your parent, your higher self, you from another timeline, a scary dream, a ghost, a demon, an angel. The message is what is important, and that is what they want us to know. So we can start really understanding the meanings and the messages more when we become more coherent and we don't attach all of these stories to it. But of course, you're supposed to attach some stories to it because that's how you learn in your life. But it is nuanced, and I will teach more about that. So first, we must learn that we have to reach for our fifth dimensional self, not the external third dimension in physical reality. This is like when you're seeing everything around. Let me make sure I'm still recording. Sorry, I'm paranoid. This is when when everything around you is kind of going wrong, or you're like, oh, well, this is just how things are. That is survival 3D consciousness. When we reach for our higher selves again, when we reattach to our higher selves, we can start to move inward out and start co-creating reality. And I've literally done this. I went from like living in my mom's bedroom to like this beautiful apartment in Portland in like 3 months. Don't ask me how I did this. And this is why I'm telling you guys this. Doesn't mean I'm perfect. Doesn't mean my trauma isn't all healed, but I've worked so much on healing and feeling authentically. You don't have to be fully healed. You just need to know how to be coherent in your nervous system and your body and be aware of the things you need to heal. And this is a process. You could get rich overnight, but if you don't, just know that you can work up to getting rich, or you can work up to having more love within you. We all have stuff we're working on. So you want to open to this higher self. You don't want to grasp, because when you're grasping, then your hands aren't open to receiving. You want to allow and trust it to come in. You want to say this or something better when you're manifesting, because you want to release control, because you don't always know what's best for you. I sure don't. I always compare this, sorry, high school boyfriend. If I really got everything I wanted and stayed with that high school boyfriend, I don't think I'd be very happy right now. And I don't think he'd be very happy right now. So that's why you have to say this or something better. Same with jobs. I like wished I could be this like famous filmmaker in like 1 year. But if that actually happened, I would have never written my book, which I think services humanity a lot more than the movie I wanted to make, which at the time was like kind of servicing humanity, but also servicing my ego. So very important. Most of us are attached to this three-dimensional reality with our parents. They were our main source of abundance. And into my adulthood, my mom was my main source of my abundance, and my dad. I spent 10 years making money myself, but then I kind of slipped back into those patterns because I think I was looking for love in all the wrong places, because I was trying to heal my inner child. And when I was able to detach from needing those things from my parents as an adult, and you can have this with a boyfriend, girlfriend, friend, job, anything you're grabbing at externally, when I started attaching back to my higher self and realizing that I can get abundance from my own co-creations, from my own creativity, from my own love, from my own source within my higher self, life started to get awesome. Doesn't mean, once again, I don't struggle. I still have a lot of struggles interpersonally that I'm working on, but my life has gotten so much better. And I'm still working on being okay with that joy, which we're going to get into as well. Because if you're like me, you fear joy because you're scared the other shoe's going to drop all the time. So remembering freedom and play and our joy. Our joy comes from this fifth dimensional space. It is bringing heaven to earth. And all of us deserve joy. I don't care what you've done. You deserve joy. And I'm going to say that. Sometimes our fourth dimensional self, our fourth dimensional body, this fourth dimensional layer covers our fifth dimensional layer with fear. This is because in the third dimensional self, joy may have felt unsafe or was taken. When I was younger, I would feel sprouts of joy, and then I would get in trouble, or I would deal with certain abuse going on, or I had this amazing relationship or friend that would only to be betrayed, or it would fall away. Now looking back, those things all happened so I could like help humanity and like develop empathy and know how hard feeling alone and powerless is, so I could actually help people find that within themselves, because I first had to go through this dark cave myself and pull myself out of it. And I wouldn't be able to help you if I didn't know how to help myself, and if I hadn't been to the pits of hell myself. And that just happens to be the life I chose here, as my higher self wanted to give me a dramatic life. So thank you. Thank you, multidimensional Dana. So we fear joy, most of us. We fear feeling. But real joy is always within. It is not without. Joy is actually always here. It is always not here when we're separated and just thinking we're a physical body and life is sucking and nothing's going right, because we all have trauma that now have turned into a belief system, and we think we deserve nothing and that everyone hates us. But maybe that was just me. So we can slowly heal our relationship with joy, and I'll get more into this in my magic classes. The link is in the bio for those. And once again, if you're watching after December 8th, the new one about this should be out. Right now, I just have the one about plasma and consciousness, but you'll be able to get them both. And you can also, I'm such a marketer, you can also read my book, which has so much of this if you like reading. But some of you don't like reading, which is why I'm trying to make these videos. Let me make sure I'm still recording. Amazing, sweetie. Okay. So we can slowly heal our joy by healing and expanding our nervous system. This is actually very human, very mundane. You can expand and heal your nervous system through inner child therapy, internal family systems, hypnotherapy, qigong or qigong, somatic therapy, somatic yoga, trauma-informed yoga. I have a playlist on my YouTube that's all about healing your body and embodiment and the nervous system. But the more we heal our body, the more we can make this space coherent and make our filter bigger, expand our body to receive our magic in a coherent way instead of it being all messy. Because most of us with trauma have learned to live from the neck up. I didn't even know I could barely feel my legs most of my life because I was so dissociated from my body. So we can slowly heal our relationship. Those are some ways. I'm just telling you now. How do we do this? We open to the unknown. The unknown is a mix of our fifth dimensional and fourth dimensional self. And it is unknown because it's not predictable like our physical reality. Sometimes the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. And the devil we don't know, our mind creates scary stories about, when really the devil we don't know is actually just God. And the devil we know is the predictable patterns in our physical life based on our beliefs. One for me is that everyone's always going to leave because, there's a story played out in my mind that I was adopted and everyone did leave. And every friend I've had is always like moved away or disappeared. Is that fully true? Probably not, but it's a story I like to tell myself. So that's something I'm working on. But when we open to the unknown, the possibility that maybe things could be different and realizing that we can heal ourselves within and not abandon ourselves first, that is when things start changing. All the work is within. And I realized when I thought everyone was really leaving me, I was actually abandoning myself. And the people that I attracted in my life kind of would fade away, not always, but more in adulthood, because I had self-abandonment. So you're going to get what you're attracting. And if you attract other people with the same issues as you, you're all just going to be a mess. But the more you have inner love, the more you attract people with inner love, like real inner love, not like giving, but like knowing how to give to yourself, knowing how to live your own life and keep your energy within and have discernment and boundaries. And that's very hard for people who grew up with trauma or, didn't have a parent or two parents there or dealt with betrayal a lot or bullying. So when you open to the unknown, you might feel like you're dying, but you're not dying. You're actually being reborn to your higher self, heaven to earth, resurrection. This is stuff Jesus used to talk about. The small acts of joy and abundance will remind you of your freedom. You can start with small acts of joy for your nervous system so you don't completely blow yourself out. This could be just doing little things every day to make yourself feel better. And it can also be feeling the fear you haven't felt your whole life and feelings. And sometimes those are first very dark. You might want to seek support for this. You might want to just cry for 3 days, but never feel shameful for feeling those negative emotions because that's actually healing your fourth dimensional magic. And the more anyone who's healed their trauma knows, the more you heal, the more abundance you have, the more money you have, the more health you have, even if it's not right away. And it's not. At first, you're going to feel like your life is completely falling apart and everything feels like you're dying and it's so scary and you have like body pains. At least that was me. But then eventually things do get better. Please hang in there. Please keep going. The most successful people I know have healed their trauma and are so abundant and have so much love. And that's what motivates me because I want to live my dream life and co-create it with my higher self. So almost done. You will begin to play. You will begin to be. You will begin to experiment without attachment to outcome. Doesn't that feel like heaven on earth? It is. We just have to return back to our divine child or our inner child. And that in chapter 6 of my book is all about returning to that divine child. Because love, our fifth dimensional self, always wins. And even if you don't see it yet, it is always there. So that's all I wanted to say today. Hopefully this went well. I'm not going to edit it, so I'm just going to post it right now. I love you guys. If you're struggling, I'm right there with you. But really, when we think we're struggling, we're actually growing, just like a plant kind of reaching through the dirt and then it sprouts. And some of us are in that dirt right now. And some of us will constantly be within and without that dirt. The key is to change your perspective. If you know that you're in that dirt, that fourth dimensional fear layer, but you know that with more and more of that, you'll reach your magic. You'll actually become literally telepathic. I swear you'll have more intuition the more you heal. And I think each of us, one more thing, has personal magic, unique magic. Like there's this guy, Tom Matt, who has upsight vision. When he got sober and started healing his trauma, he developed a a vision where he could see holographic images in front of him. And now he helps a lot of people with that. As I've been healing, I, can channel random things about plasma and consciousness that I shouldn't be able to know because I have no background in any of this. Even though I'm smart and know science and math and stuff, I didn't even go to college. I should not be knowing the things I know. Somehow I just know them. Doesn't mean I'm right or wrong, but it might mean that what I'm saying is from a higher place. It might resonate with you or might match what you're getting from a higher place. And the real answers are always within you. I can only point people to what's within themselves. Same with me. I can get all the answers from up here and not integrate them, and then I'm fucking shit. So anyway, this will hopefully all lead to your personal magic. Goodbye. Have a great day. Oh, and the link's in the bio. The link's in the description if you want to just check out any of my stuff. Bye.